The old forest stood silent. The trees were gnarled fingers reaching up into the grey sky. Wind howled through the branches, a lonely, mournful sound. At the forest edge, a rusted sign creaked in the wind. Blackwood Manor, it read, the letters faded and peeling. Beyond the gates lay a long, winding drive. It was overgrown with weeds, almost swallowed by the forest. The drive led to a mansion. It loomed at the end, dark and silent. Blackwood Manor. No one dared to go near it, not anymore. The mansion was a rotting shell, its windows like vacant eyes. It was a place of whispers and shadows, a place of fear. Everyone in town knew the stories about Blackwood Manor. They whispered them late at night, huddled around flickering candlelight. They told of a family cursed, their souls trapped within the mansion's walls. The Blackwoods had been wealthy and powerful, but their greed had consumed them. They say the mansion was built on a dark pact, a deal with forces beyond human understanding. One night, as shadows stretched long and cold, tragedy struck. The Blackwood family was found dead. Each one met with a gruesome fate. Their souls, unable to find peace, were bound to the mansion. Now, Blackwood Manor stood empty, a monument to greed and despair. The locals said the mansion was a hungry thing, its emptiness yearning to be filled.
I dare you.
The words hung in the air, sharp and challenging.
I don't want to go.
She could feel it in her gut, a cold knot of apprehension. But her friends were already pushing open the rusted gates of Blackwood Manor. There were 4 of them. Josh, the daredevil, always pushing the limits. Emily, the skeptic, trying to mask her fear. Max, the quiet one, observing everything with wide, watchful eyes. And Sarah, suddenly wishing she was anywhere but here.
Come on, scaredy cat.
Josh taunted, already halfway up the overgrown drive. Sarah took a deep breath. She couldn't let them think she was scared. Besides, a part of her was curious. What secrets did Blackwood Manor hold? The front door creaked open with a groan, like a sigh from the grave. The air inside was heavy with dust and the smell of decay. Cobwebs hung from every corner, thick and grey. Sunlight struggled to penetrate the grime on the windows, casting the interior in an eerie twilight. Shadows danced in the corners, shifting and whispering. The silence was broken only by the sound of their own breathing. They moved cautiously through the main hall, their footsteps echoing in the stillness. Dust-covered furniture loomed around them, shrouded in white sheets like ghosts. Every sound made them jump. Every shadow seemed to writhe.
This place is creepy,
Emily whispered, her voice barely audible. Even she, the skeptic, couldn't deny the feeling of dread that hung over the mansion. They wandered through the mansion, each room a testament to decay and neglect. A grand dining room with a table set for a feast that never came. A library with shelves full of leather-bound books, their pages brittle with age. Then they found the portrait. It hung above the fireplace in the drawing room, its frame ornate and covered in dust. The portrait depicted a woman in a long flowing gown. Her face was twisted in a silent scream, her eyes wide with terror.
Whoa, check out her face.
As he reached out to touch the portrait, a cold gust of wind swept through the room. The portrait swung on its hinges, the woman's scream seeming to echo in the silence. Sarah shivered, a prickle of fear running down her spine.
Let's get out of here. This place is bad news.
They were about to leave the drawing room when they heard it. A child's laughter, high and sweet, echoing down the hallway. It was a chilling sound, utterly out of place in the silent mansion.
Did you hear that?
They all heard it. The laughter seemed to come from the far end of the hallway, where the shadows were deepest.
It's probably just an animal.
But her voice shook, betraying her fear.
Come on, let's see what's making that noise.
They followed him reluctantly, their footsteps echoing on the wooden floor. The laughter grew louder as they approached the end of the hallway. It seemed to be coming from behind a large oak door. The door creaked open, revealing a set of stairs leading down into darkness. The laughter echoed up from the stairwell, beckoning them forward.
This is a bad idea.
Sarah whispered, her heart pounding in her chest. But Josh was already halfway down the stairs.
Come on, slowpokes.
He called back, his voice echoing in the darkness. The air in the stairwell was cold and damp, smelling of mildew and something else, something ancient and unpleasant. The laughter grew louder with each step, swirling around them like a living thing. They reached the bottom of the stairs and found themselves in a narrow corridor. The walls were lined with cobwebs, and the air was thick with dust. The corridor ended in another door, this one made of heavy, iron-bound wood. The door creaked open, revealing a large circular chamber. Torches flickered on the walls, casting dancing shadows across the room. In the center of the chamber stood a stone altar, stained a dark, rusty color. And then they saw them. Bones, hundreds of them, scattered across the floor. Human bones, animal bones, all jumbled together in a macabre display. The laughter reached a crescendo, echoing through the chamber, bouncing off the stone walls. It was everywhere and nowhere, a chilling, disembodied sound.
This is messed up.
Josh muttered, his usual bravado gone. He looked pale, his eyes wide with fear. As if on cue, the laughter stopped. The torches flickered and died, plunging the chamber into darkness. The only sound was their own terrified breathing. Panic seized them. They stumbled back, bumping into each other in the darkness. Sarah could hear her friends' panicked breaths, their muttered curses.
We need to get out of here.
Emily screamed, her voice high with terror. They fumbled for the door, their hands scrabbling against the rough stone wall, but it was gone. The doorway had vanished, replaced by solid stone. They were trapped.
Help! Someone help us!
Max cried out, his voice cracking with fear. But their cries were met with silence. A heavy silence that pressed down on them, suffocating them. Then a low growl echoed through the chamber. It was a sound that seemed to vibrate in their very bones, a sound of pure, primal fear. The growl was followed by another and another. Something was circling them in the darkness, something unseen and hungry. Sarah could feel its hot, fetid breath on her skin. She huddled together with her friends, their bodies trembling with terror. They were trapped in the darkness, hunted by something they couldn't see. The mansion had them now. The laughter returned, echoing through the chamber, mocking their fear. It was a chilling reminder that they were not alone. The spirits of Blackwood Manor were still there, and they were not at peace. And in the darkness something moved.